Good afternoon, everyone. Before starting the presentation, I want to understand who are all here. You guys are students, working professionals. How many students are here? Working professionals? Which department, Anne? You? Direction? All in one? Good, good, good. Okay. My name is C.V. Rao. I'm working as a Chief Technology Officer in Annapurna Studios. So I started my career as a graphic designer in one advertising agency. That's how my career started. Actually, I wanted to become a professor in a university, Central University. That's how I've come to Hyderabad from Tirupati. But somehow I didn't get the seat because of the OC, how the competition was 20 years ago. Then luckily I have done some DTP work during my graduation. I did like time pass in the evening. What do I do in the evening? Okay, let's do something, learn some typewriting, DTP. That helped me to get into creative field. And also I was looking at, 1996, 1998, during those days, ETV channel was the first Telugu channel came into the market. Actually, that was the inspiration for me. ETV, MeTV, it used to come into in the television on those days. How do they make it? I started thinking, okay, that was the idea where I got it. Okay, I think I should get into creative field. Let me get into it. But the opportunities those days were very, very minimal. And also the exposure to the technology was very, very minimal those days, 2 decades ago. Nowadays, you guys are lucky. You have enough. To attend this kind of exhibition, we used to travel, like Bombay, Chennai, Bangalore. Now today, we are in Hyderabad, bringing one of the biggest media entertainment expo in Hyderabad right here. You guys are so lucky. So, you guys are into mass communication, like you guys are into institutes now. You are learning multimedia, the moment now, right? You guys are more interested to know about post-production workflow in general or in detail? In detail, then it will take 2 days time. I'll try to make it as quick as possible in 40 minutes. Let me try. And if you guys have any clarifications, you can meet me or you can send an email to me. I'll be happy to share my knowledge with you guys. So I believe the post-production starts from the first day of shooting. Why I say this? Who will take care of the data from the shooting date? So the DIT plays very major role to take care of the data. And he needs to understand what camera they are going to use, what model it is. Because each camera will have a different formats and different sizes, right? And you need to talk to the production house how many cameras they are going to use and how the data is going to be stored. Is it on an external drive or is it on a RAID drive? So taking the RAID drive to the location is a bit complicated, right? So definitely you have to take external drives to the location, right? And how many backups you have to take care. So when you know about the camera model, what they are going to use, then you can estimate, okay, per day they are going to shoot a 1 hour footage, like 30 minutes footage. Then I need minimum like 1 TB, 2 TB. And how many drives I have to carry there. And do you guys want to store data on pocket drive or like lassies? There is a G drives. Pocket drives, sometimes there are high chances of failures. Okay, that is important. And how do you copy the data from camcorder to the external drive? I know you say that you use like iMac or Mac laptop to copy the data. That is okay. That's the usual process. But you guys use any software to copy the data to the external drive. That is more important. Okay, there are softwares called Yoyota. Yoyota is very popular to transfer the data and to transcode the data. So that software gives you the report after copying the data. It's called checksum report. Checksum report is very important nowadays for the OTT platforms. They will ask you, okay, how the data is been stored. Where is the checksum report? So what checksum report, how it helps is, it will tell you, it will give the report on what are the clips copied onto external drive, whether they are in a good condition or not. Sometimes there may be issue with the lensing while capturing the data, and it will alert you, okay, this clip has some issue. It has some bad pixel. It will alert you with red color, right? It will give an error report. So immediately with that, what you can do is you have to immediately inform the head of the production or head of the departments on the location itself, so that they will check at the clip. If it is okay shot, if it has a problem, they immediately can go to the director and ask for retake. So it will be a great help for them. What if you don't use this software for the checksum report, right? Then maybe after a month or 2 months, when while they are editing, sometimes when they are editing, they edit on a small monitors, right? You may not find that error. When it goes to DI, the color grading, you will see on a big screen, definitely it will be identified. So even if you find at that time, the production house cannot go back to the location and recreate everything and take the shot. So that's the reason it's very, very important to use the third-party software to copy the data from camcorder to external drive. And also it's important to take multiple backups on the location. Since you are using external drives, the standalone drives, the failures of drives is, most of the times there are failures. That's the reason if you take multiple backups, like backup 1, backup 2, backup 3, then it will be, the data will be in safe hands. So once you do that, then you have to move that storage to the studios where RAID storage is installed. Maybe it can be at the studio, post-production studio, if it is already, the production house is already decided the post-production studio, or it can go to the production house. Sometimes big production houses, they are building their own RAID servers. So the RAID servers will have extra backup drives in the RAID servers, where if one drive fails, the failed drives will push the data to the backup drive. That's the advantage of the RAID servers. So finally, ultimately, the DIT has to make sure that the data has to be copied onto the server on a daily basis. And a daily basis is very, very important. Sometimes what they do is they take the drive to the location, maybe 10 TB or 8 TB, 12 TB. They wait until they fill the drive. What if something goes wrong? Then it will come on to DIT, right? So DIT has to be very, very responsible. And DIT not only copying the data, and he has to play another role, that like once the data storage is done, so this is the software I was talking about. Yoyota is the software for copying the data. Then DIT next role is to create the offline, footage for the editing purpose. So how does he create? There are 3 ways to create. He can simply do the transcoding using any software like DaVinci or Daylight or Premiere. He can transfer as it is without adding any LUT. That will be like most of the cameras will give logarithmic image where it looks like washed out, like low contrast. Highlights will be flattened. It looks like a log image. That is not supposed to go to the edit, because people will get panic once they see footage in edit. So the basic thing is you have to apply a LUT. You will get default LUTs from the cameras, from the Red, Alexa, and Sony Venice. You have to apply a LUT where you can see the linear footage. The way they saw on the monitor, on the location, they get similar to that when you apply a LUT. That is the option 2. Option 3 will be, you can send the footage to the post-production studio and show it to the colorist, and the colorist can do the base grade for the entire data and send it to the edit. So this is the best way of doing it, but most of the production houses, they can't afford it because it definitely takes time, one, and it also attracts cost. So the 4th way is, nowadays On location grading is very popular because the new generation, because they are coming out of the school, they are learning multiple tools. They are not only learning like 3D, they are not learning only painting, roto. If they are interested in editing field, they learn edit, they learn color, they learn data transfer. So these three qualities are required for DIT. You should know basics of editing, you should know basics of color, and you should know about the data transfer procedures. Once he knows that the DIT will have lot of demand. DIT is not like digital imaging technician, is not like just copy paste. I see many people who does only copy paste. But you guys keep it in mind that DIT has a major demand in the market. The filmmakers needs it. If DIT can do a color grade on the location itself, just see the demand, what kind of demand you will have in the market. And audio files can be extracted from the source files. That's one way. And the second way is some production houses, they hire sync department to record live sound on the location itself. So you can take the file separately from them and push this offline footage and the audio files to the edit department. So the next important thing is editing department. You know the editing department is a basic thing. What they have to do is they will have a editing department, main editor and assistant editors. Assistant editors, the moment they get the footage, they start looking at the footage and take out the all okay takes or non-okay takes, and they start putting the scene order. Then editor comes and start doing the scene edit. So once the scene is edited, if it is a VFX based film, then it has to go to VFX. The shots have to go to VFX. Here the key element is, before you sending the scene to VFX department, you have to name each and every shot. Okay, some people, they think that there is a clip name, camera clip name, why do we need to name the shot again? But there will be intercuts, right? If you have a lengthy shot, they will use multiple cuts within that shot. Same clip name will be repeated. So that's not the good practice for the VFX department. Reason you need to have an individual name for each and every shot, because if you want to refer that shot in the future and tell any correction, if there is any specific note you want to give, okay, shot number so and so, scene number 1, shot number 5. There is a correction, we need to extend this. That for that communication, you need to give the shot name for all CG shots. That's very, very important. Even now we get edit reference just like that. You start the CG. Where is the clip name? Not required, sir. You give it yourself. So that's the complication happening. Since you guys are new generation, new talent, these are the things you need to keep it in mind. And how do you transfer the data from edit to VFX, edit to DI? You can send the data through external drives. That is the most common usage. But now with the cloud data transfers, there are multiple softwares are in use. Definitely you need to have good bandwidth, internet bandwidth, right? It's not like that. For a hard drive, you don't need any internet, but for a cloud transfer, you need to have a very good bandwidth to transfer the data. So driveless data transfer is becoming popular because you can have the security on the content. You know the leakages, how it happens, right? Now pen drives are very small, they can keep it in pocket and it can go anywhere. And also the younger generation, they are attracted to the films, you know. If they are a fan of Pawan Kalyan, fan of Prabhas, if they see some shot, they wanted to show, what do? They take that pen drive and keep it somewhere. Either they will show it, they will show that shot to their friend, particularly girlfriend, because they are excited to show, right? And we had this experience for Bahubali. I don't know whether you guys remember or not. For Bahubali 2, there's almost 7 minutes sequence leaked from our facility. You guys know that? Right? So, who had leaked that? because we encouraged one young talent. He's just like 18 years old guy. I personally recruited him because he's been rejected by head of HOD. Then I spoke to him because we have to encourage the youngster. But that guy has done this. So that's the reason driverless data transfer is most important, because you can control that. You can also monitor how the data is transferred from one system to another system, and email IDs you can track it, and what time it is being delivered. That is the reason the driverless data transfer is very, very important. There are two softwares are very popular these days. That is one Signiant Media Shuttle, very economical, and there is IBM Aspera. Both are there. You can pick any one of them based on your data transfer, how much data you are going to transfer in a month or in a year. And there are two more softwares like frame.io. I don't know how many people, anybody knows frame.io? You know, yeah, you are in direction department, right? You must be knowing it. So this is very, very useful for quick review of any shots and giving the notes. It can happen online. Say, for example, if you are doing any CG work in VFX department, if you want to send it to director, no need to send it in WhatsApp. It can go anywhere. Put it on Frame.io. Director can see anywhere from any device by mobile or an iPad or any laptop, any desktop system. And you can write there, give the notes. So getting the notes this way will also be very helpful for the VFX department. Reason, you have a proof how many corrections you can give, right? You have a note in the beginning, right? So this is what is required for this shot. You have done it and you send it to director or direction department. They will give you on the first iteration, what they will do, this is what is needed. If you do it, this shot is done. There is a proof. Next time, if you tell some other correction, you may have a question, sir, you didn't tell me last time, this is a new correction. And there it will go to financial department, whether we have to do this or not. Second time also, you may have to do it because to keep the relation with the creative department, with the direction department, because he has to come back to you, right? Again, right? Sometimes humans, they may miss it. We have to encourage, but not third time and fourth time, right? So that way also it will be helpful. One is content security. Second is you will get quick notes from the direction department. And third, you can close the work quickly and move on to other shot. So that's the reason even cloud data transfer and online softwares for the quick reviews and sharing the data is more useful. The next, after editing, what happens? It has to go to the color grading, also named it as DI. You guys know as DI or like color grading, which is popular? DI? So actually DI, the terminology is not correct. So DI was popular when there was a picture negative, right? Not now. Digital intermediate. So when films were shooting on picture negative, they have to shoot on picture negative, it has to be processed. And if they want to do any visual effects, the picture negative has to be scanned to digital. They use the scanner and make it to digital files. Then you do the visual effects, finish it, then take back that into a negative, a intermediate negative. I still remember Kodak 5242. So that whole process is called a digital intermediate process. Now we don't have a negative, right? So we have only, everything is digital. There is no negative. That's the reason we have to call color grading. So many editors, even cinematographers, directors told me, still you guys are using DI. If you are not using DI, the color grading, there is no visibility for color grading. No one is, oh, color grading, what is that? That is the reason we still keep our title DI, even we. So what I'm telling you guys, at least in the future, we have to change this terminology from DI to color grading. In color grading, what happens is the moment you get the files from edit, what do you get from edit? Either XML or EDL or AF or and QuickTime reference. what you get from the edit department. This is all offline, right? You have to connect that to the camera source footage with the help of EDL and XML. There you have to create the timeline. If it is 4K, that native timeline you have to create. If it is 4K, the timeline has to be in 4K, 6K, 8K. The case will keep on going on. Case, okay? Case are resolutions, right? In the confirming, you have to make sure that get the confirmation with the camera source footage. Then the colorist has to check, do the base grade for the VFX as per the VFX description. Here, the VFX in charge from the direction department, because nowadays in each and every direction department, they will identify one assistant director and dedicate that guy to the VFX department to coordinate. So that assistant director has to give the proper description to the colorist, what it is going to come in this shot. Based on that, he will do the base grade. After that, the files has to go to VFX. So what are the files it can go to VFX? If you want to retain the source information in the files as per the camera source, you have to deliver EXR files. EXR 32-bit, so that it can retain all the metadata information in EXR file. So in EXR also you have uncompressed, you have lossless RLE, you have fizz wavelet. So uncompressed, each, like nowadays everything is 4K pipeline. No one is doing TK. It's very, very rare the people are doing in 2K, because there is a cost difference in handling VFX in a 2K pipeline, 4K pipeline. But 95% everything is happening in 4K resolution. Okay, if it is a 4K file, EXR file, uncompressed, it will come around 50 TB. So you need to analyze, okay, what is the difference I'm looking at if I use RLE compression, if I use fizz wavelet. So you yourself have to do some tests and believe it, okay? And I found no difference. That's the reason we use lossless RLE and fizz wavelet. What it does is it brings from 50 MB to 20 MB or 22 MB. It also varies depending on the scene particular shot. If it is a night shot with less highlights, darks. If it is a day shot, if it is exterior shot, the wide shot, there will be a 1 MB or 2 MB, there will be variation between the shot to shot. So when one more reason is to maintain EXR files. When you get back that EXR files to DI, it has to come back after doing CG and everything, right? So you can also combine all RGB mats within EXR. You don't need to render separately. So that is not, actually everyone is not following this, but some of the studios, they are following it. Render RGB mats within EXR and send it to DI department as a single file. There in DI, they can see multiple mats by extracting it. Even they don't need to keep like multiple files, like the main layer, then RGB mat like green, blue, and red, and you have multiple objects also, right? If it is like, if you take one shot in RRR interval sequence where NTR comes out of the vehicle, right? It's more than 69 mats in one shot. But we got only one clip. We didn't get multiple clips. We didn't get 70 clips. But system was not playing it. So the moment we load that shot, it was getting stuck. Then we went into the shot and saw it. It is like almost 70, is equivalent to 70 files. It's 4K. 70 into 4K is almost like, imagine. So the system can support up to 4K to playback. So sometimes when system doesn't perform, don't think that systems are not supporting. You need to see what file it is, what load it has, right? That is also very important. We faced it, that's the reason practically I'm telling you. And DI, one more important thing is, before starting the final grading, or before even starting the grading, you need to make sure the calibration process, how the reproduction will be to the theaters. what are the projectors you are using. Say, for example, if you are a director, if you are a cinematographer, first thing you need to see what is the projector you guys are using. Is it 2K, is it 4K, 4K, or is it 6K or 8K? Okay, if it is 2K or 4K, what is the projector it is? What is the color reproduction it can produce, right? So there are projectors like Barco and Christie, they are very popular and they are mostly used in most of the studios. And these are the DLP projectors. DLP projectors, they stopped manufacturing it. It's over. And the next is laser projectors. They are bringing laser projectors. 1 second. Yeah. They are bringing laser projectors. The problem with the laser projectors, again, the color reproduction from DI to theater is again a problem because it produces more color and more brightness, which is not required for the cinema. Whereas DLP, it gives you proper brightness and proper color reproduction. I don't say it's 100% reproduction. I can say 95%. The reason 95% I say, look at your iPhones, just side by side. Open any trailer. Can you see the same color? Any iPad, same brand, same model. Can you see? We can't see. That's the reason there will be a 5% variation from a display to display. Either it can be a projector or it can be a display, mobile display or iPad, any display. So that if there is a 5% difference in displays, you can simply ignore it. Where I have learned from this, I had experience, practical experience. So we were doing one film called Manam in Bombay, foreign colorist actually. So I worked with that DOP earlier and we faced many questions for the reproduction. We do DI, we see something here and we go to theater and there is a difference. There is a 5% difference. But unfortunately, we were unable to tell him and we are unable to convince him. But the foreigner convinced him with this example. Okay, there is a 5% difference. What is the mobile you are using? Okay, I am using iPhone. Okay, my phone also iPhone. Let's open. Okay, open the trailer. We opened it, side by side. Is it same? The same trailer, right? Is it same? It's not same. That's the reason I'm telling you on the projectors, there will be a difference. That's where he got convinced. So that foreign colorist, I still remember, is almost like 10 years ago. The way he explained to the cinematographer was awesome. That's the reason, same example I am giving it to you and telling you guys, if you face that kind of problem in the future, take practical examples and show them. That way, it will be very helpful. So, and also like another new workflow is coming up now. Until now, we grade the feature film on a projector, then bring back that into the monitor for the OTT and satellite deliveries. That's what we have been following. But Dolby has come up with the new pipeline. Dolby HDR grading. They have developed multiple tools. What you can do is you can grade the entire film on a monitor, HDR monitor. The HDR will give you high dynamic range. The brightness levels will be almost 10% higher than your film brightness. Your film brightness, the maximum is, the recommended nits is 48 nits. But normal television, what we see at home, normal television, not HDR television, is 120 plus nits. But whereas HDR, it's 1000 nits. So you have a larger dynamic range on a monitor. So ultimately what's happening nowadays is the film, how many weeks it is running in theater? A week? 2 weeks? If they are lucky enough, 3 weeks. Right? So that's the reason even cinematographers, filmmakers, they are preferring to grade on a monitor because ultimately it is going to OTT platform which will stay for lifetime. So the OTT platforms, they are agreeing for the HDR output, which is a high dynamic range. So how do you bring this from 1000 nits to 48 nits is the question again. That's where Dolby plays a major role. So they developed a LUT called Rec 2020 with 1000 nits, and it has a down conversion from Rec 2020 to DCI P3. A DCI P3 is 48 nit. And also sometimes you have to deliver like what you have to deliver when you grade on HDR. You have to deliver for OTT as it is HDR, and you have to deliver for theater, which is 48 nits, and you have to deliver for some televisions like satellite channels. They accept for SDR, standard dynamic range, which is 108 nits, and it also has Dolby Rec 709. So when you grade on a HDR monitor, so you'll be able to derive these 3 outputs from one grade. What if you do on DCI P3 and bring back, push that to HDR? But you cannot stretch the image, right? It's like a difference between raster image and vector image. If it is a vector image, you can stretch as long as you want. But if it is raster, it is already pixelated, right? If you stretch it, what happens? It will be pixelated and it will go completely blurred. Like that, if you grade in DCI P3 48 nits, and if you try to stretch that, you will not get the exact values and the image will start getting damaged. So that's the reason nowadays grade on HDR, but it just started. Everyone is not doing that. Only a couple of studios are following this. But going forward, this will be the pipeline. That means going forward, even the projector usage for the theatrical grade will be a doubtful. That's the reason even we have not upgraded our projectors to laser. 2 reasons. We don't know whether they use the projectors because of this HDR workflow. And second reason is the laser projectors are not ready for theatrical grade. Because of these 2 reasons, we put it on hold. Maybe next year we may be pushed to use this, because if someone is using, and also these laser projectors are keep on upgrading in the theaters. If there are more laser projectors, then we are pushed to invest on laser projectors. Then when we come to audio part, that was the video part, what we spoke about: data storage, edit, visual effects, and color. Up to there is almost like your video is getting ready, visual is getting ready. Next is the sound. In sound, you have like 3 sections particularly: dubbing, sound effects and Foley, called sound design, and you have background score. These 3 are very, very important. Nowadays, the films are playing mostly on the music. That is the reason Anirudh Ramchandran is now hero. He's a big hero, technical hero. Right? How many of you seen Leo? You liked it? You guys didn't like it. You didn't like it. You didn't watch? You don't watch films? So they have to finish this, basically dubbing and sound design and the background score. Then these 3 parts will come to the sound mixing department. Their sound mixing engineer will be there. He will be mixing all these 3 categories at 3 levels. Because in dubbing, you will get many tracks. Same with sound effects, Foley, and BGM also. It will have multiple tracks. Each section will have like 120 plus tracks. And they have to balance it. In dubbing, you see, if you have multiple artists, right? You have to balance that artist voice levels. You have to bring it to one level. Same with SFX and background score. These premixes will happen. They will bring it to like 5-6 tracks from 120 tracks. They will bring it to 6 tracks. 6 are like 13 tracks each section. Then they will go to the final mix. 14 tracks they will bring each section. They will go to the final mixing. There they will do the final sound mixing according to the scene as per the director. That's where they create the magic based on the scene, based on the fight sequence, based on the mood of the actor. After the sound mix happens, you have the sound file ready. Now video is ready and audio is ready. Then next step is the deliverables, final deliverables. You just can't send these two separate files to anyone. It has to be mastered. You have to patch them together. You have to marry them together. We used to call like married print before digital comes. You were there, right? Yeah. So like that, you have to do a mastering. There are different formats even in the mastering department. You'll have a DCP delivery for theatrical, that is called digital cinema package. So I think you guys have seen .avi, .mov, right? .dcp is for the theatrical. It will be in MXF format. It's not like .dcp. It's called digital cinema package. Will be in MXF format. Here, different formats will be there. Like they have to have with subtitle DCP and Atmos DCP, 5.1 DCP, 7.1 DCP. All DCPs they will check, and the direction department, editing department, and cinematography department they will check and make sure, and then it will go to theaters. That's where what you see in theaters today. Then the main challenge will be with the OTT again. There will be too many formats with the OTT. And they keep on changing because there is a technology evolution, right? Even that's not their problem because they have to take the archival keeping almost 20 years in mind how we have to use in the future. So that's the reason they take SDR, standard dynamic range. They take HDR, high dynamic range. And they also take multiple tracks. They will take 5.1, 7.1, 2-track, Atmos tracks, music and effects, IT tracks. All these tracks will be there. How long will it take? This DCP processing will not take much time. Maybe 1 day, 2 day, we will not get more than that. If you take sometimes if you get 2 hours also, that is good enough. You are saved. For OTT and satellite, it takes minimum a month to go back and forth. That is how the QC process is set up with all the OTT platforms. Even after the release of the film, we keep on working on the film for more than a month to deliver all the formats. Then only even production house will get the payment. They have to meet all the deliveries. This is the most crucial part. And two more formats in cinema. One is IMAX and the second one is Dolby Cinema. IMAX is like their own format. They develop their theaters with their own technology. It's a better projection, better sound system. There are a couple of screens in India and more screens to come in India, maybe. They are growing. You'll have a different experience, movie experience in their theaters. And Dolby Cinema halls is not in India. They are going to come in India. So Dolby Cinema will have a different dynamic range. I was talking about nits, right? Like 48 nits was the DCP for DCI-P3. For Dolby Cinema, we'll have 108 nits. That's the reason you'll have a better picture, better clarity on the highlights and the contrasts, blacks and whites. Once you walk into Dolby Cinema Hall, I'm sure next time you will not go to another theater. You will watch only in Dolby Cinema. That is the quality they provide. So it is going to come mostly next year in 2024. They are in talks in India too. And RRR is the first Indian film released on Dolby Cinema in all abroad theaters, most of the theaters. And that's been processed in Germany because there is no facility even to process the content. And we were involved to get the Dolby Cinema processing content at Germany. So now we spoke about data storage, storing on the external storage and bringing the storage to the RAID, then starting the post-production, all those things, right? Going forward, your download, transfer, shipping, transfer will be skipped. So the cameras are going to have C2C, camera to cloud. You capture, store directly on cloud and start your post-production. That is the future. You sit anywhere in the world. If you are an editor, you can sit anywhere. No need to wait for the hard disk. Just have to log in onto the S3 bucket. It can be from Wasabi, AWS, and there is one more. Few more are coming. At presently, Raptor is there. Raptor, we did one workflow test just like 15 days ago. Cloud-based workflow. Shoot on the location itself, directly it goes, the storage goes onto the S3 bucket. And immediately start accessing it. We edited, basically we did 1 hour workshop. We edited online, color corrected, and finished. Like DCP, OTT mastering, everything we have done in 1 hour. We have built world-class post-production facility in Hyderabad, keeping all this experience in hand. And we are one of the most sought-after post-production facilities in Hyderabad, in South. This is a small video, just have a look at it. That's it from my end. If any questions, please. I think you guys understood everything. No questions. I'm glad. Can you pass on? Can you pass on the mic, please?
Thank you so much, Sivi sir. This is another amazing event today, amazing session. I mean, I'm sure this is very insightful.
I covered a little bit because I have only 45 minutes. The time is up, it is showing. Just covered a little bit. It has a lot of depth actually, post production. It's not like it. We cannot cover in 45 minutes.
So my question is, I'm sure majority of filmmakers today don't have the knowledge whichever you just shared, right? So
not majority, but
I would
new
say
age filmmakers, yes,
exactly,
they have.
Only a very handful of filmmakers do have the knowledge that you just shared.
Trust me, I'll tell you one example. Okay. 10 years ago, if someone wants to become a director, they have to work under director for a couple of years, and they have to work as a slave. But today, you know, right? They are directly coming and making a film. See the change. Yes. We used to go around for jobs. We used to search and beg. But today, The projects are coming to us. That's where the industry has grown up.
Yes. So definitely, this is very helpful. So I would like you to say what exactly are the disadvantages of not having this knowledge for a filmmaker.
You have to listen to the facility, whatever they say. That is a disadvantage. If you know it, then you can tell them correctly
Command.
how the work has to be done.
Yeah.
That will be the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, what are the disadvantages one filmmaker can have if they are not aware of all these, this knowledge, whatever you just
They have to
shared.
depend on many people. He has to depend on his assistant. Then he has to have very good assistants surrounding him, whom he can believe.
Yeah.
That's one. And he cannot communicate with the other creative departments like VFX, color, and edit. He has to completely depend on other side. If he know a bit of filmmaking, then he will at least talk to the right people and get the work done, and they will also respect the director. Okay, this guy has some sense, and they will be alert doing the work, and they will also produce a better work.
And
The
also decision.
communication
Yeah.
between the creative people and the director will be a massive difference if he doesn't know anything.
And it will also affect the decision making ability.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
हेलो सर
Hi.
हार्ट बीट थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया
No problem. Cool.
लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स इट्स ओके इफ आई स्पीक इन हिंदी
I'm not that good, but I cannot try to understand. Not a
okay
problem.
I'm coming from Jodhpur Rajasthan
Okay.
okay I'm lucky I feel
Your
I'm
English is good. Be confident.
thank you actually I started learning without internet in 2006 2007 my father have a studio photography studio then I learned from Digit magazine they
Yeah, I know.
give
Yeah,
a
yeah,
CD
yeah.
with trial software
Yeah.
then I start Photoshop and Adobe Premiere without internet I start Premiere and all and now I edit to photography videography cinematography to edit
All in one. Yeah.
now colorist I fixed the DI
Where do you do in DaVinci?
yes
Nice.
now correct I will not say I am DI artist now I will say I am colorist and
Good.
last recently I done one feature film regional cinema for Rajasthani it's a horror comedy film uh, one things I want to share with you I know whole pipeline which you described I'm glad you know एक गुरु शिष्य जो होता है ना
Hmm.
डिसाइपल वो अपने गुरु के पास जाके सिर्फ कुछ सवाल पूछता है और वो जब गुरु उसको आंसर करता है तो वो सिर्फ सेटिस्फाइड होता है हाँ ये मैंने ऑब्जर्व करा था ये इन्होंने कर दिया इन्होंने कैट कर लिया वो कॉन्फिडेंट हो जाता है तो मैंने कहीं से भी कुछ सीखा नहीं किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट से नहीं सीखा गूगल यूट्यूब आर माई
But
गुरु
you delivered any outputs to theater like YouTube?
yes I am also delivering DCP also
Nice. In
for
you are making in DaVinci.
yes in before I was using DCP Omatic also I'm current I'm on Fiverr for freelancing I'm delivered worldwide
I think your question is too long. We can talk in person.
okay sorry
We'll talk after this session.
thank you thank you so much
Any more questions, please? Time is up. So one last question we'll take.
Hello, sir. So I missed out most of the first part. So one of the thing I wanted to mention that I heard in the last section where you talk about the DCP format, and for OTT it's a separate format. You said that takes about a month, right? So I'm wondering.
It's not like a month takes for the processing. So we have to process it and send it to OTT, and they will do the QC. For that they will take time, and they will give the flags, right? You have to fix that flags again. You have to send it back. That process will take 1 month, more than a month sometimes.
Right. So is it like when it comes to the money a movie can make from theater versus OTT, is it fair enough to see that there needs to be some kind of effort to shorten that? What can be done to shorten that 1 month
It can be. It can be. What you have to do is, maybe if you are in that rush to collect the balance funds from the OTT, you have to take risk sending the content a week before the release, movie release, so that by the time you release the content in theater, you will get the QC report. You fix it in a week and send it off, but you have to take risk. That's not advisable. You have to send the content to OTT only after the release.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Thank you so much.
welcome.
We would have also liked you to share some insights about virtual production, because I know you're doing a lot of stuff on that. And
I want to talk, but this time is up.
I know it's a very
next
short time,
session. People are waiting. If you are interested, yes, let's have a conversation after this
Sure,
session.
sure,
Yeah?
we can have, sir. I just wanted to ask a question about the AXR files and the mats that you said, sRGB mats. So the embedded mats are the same as sRGB mats, right?
Yes, it can be embedded in Nuke software. I'm not sure in Fusion. Sometimes there are bugs, but Nuke can handle.
Yeah, we do send it.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So love to talk to you separately.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your patience. Hope you got some information from me. Thank you so much. Have a great time.